Hello, we're now going to go through the rest position of Pilates. Most exercises that are done on our back use this rest position, and this idea of centering can then be taken into standing, side lying and 4-point kneeling. For those of you that know that you've got an increased curve, you've got a bigger hollow in your low back, it's really useful to either have a spare little 1-inch pad, or you can have a towel that you can kind of fold so that there is an extra 1-inch pad, and I will show you how to use that if it is appropriate for yourself. Before you do this video, it's really important that you've looked at the exercise about pelvic tilting and that you have looked at the video about equipment to go through your mat and your head blocks. So have a lie down on your back. Okay. So we're going to start off like we did when we did the pelvic tilt, with our feet and knees hip width apart. We're going to bring our feet and knees together. We're going to open our toes and open our heels. From here, we're going to think about our head and our neck. We're going to nod up and down, just noticing how that feels. When we look up, how we feel a stretch at the front of our chin and a compression or kind of a squashing sensation at the base of our neck. And as we look down, how we feel some length at the back of our head and kind of less of a gap between our chin and our chest. Just do that a couple more times. And I'd like you to find the halfway position. So we feel some length through the back of the neck and enough space between our chin and our chest as if we've got a peach underneath there. With practice, I'd also love you to try and keep your jaw relaxed, because lots of us can hold tension through our jaw. We're going to focus on our collarbones, which are these bones at the top of our chest. And I want you to imagine that they're gently falling open. So if the center of our chest, our breastbone, was the spine of our book, the pages are falling gently open. We can feel our shoulder blades sinking into the mat. Maybe you can imagine that you're lying in the sun and that sensation of resting on the beach. Coming onto our ribs, we are all built very differently. So some people's ribs will naturally kind of lift up a little bit more, but we like to encourage some softness and heaviness. A lot of people have tension through their ribs, and if I demonstrate, they kind of really strain them up to the ceiling. So maybe placing your hands on your ribs. As you breathe in and out, just see if they can soften. Just softening down. Releasing any tension through those collarbones and that chest, lengthening through the head and the neck, as if you're lying on a beach with those shoulder blades that are heavy. So the final bit of finding our rest position is aligning ourselves, and we use this with our pelvic tilts. So we can practice using that diamond again, or the heel of our hands on those wings of the pelvis. And from here, we're going to start going into our pelvic tilts. So we're going to go backwards, noticing the air being squashed out between the small of our back and the mat when there's no gap if we used our fingers. We're going to go forwards, creating that hollow, creating that tunnel that we could get that car under. Do that a couple of times, seeing if you can be aware of the rest of your body, that your feet and knees stay in line, your ribs are soft and heavy, your shoulders are relaxed, your neck is lengthened, as if you've got a peach under the chin. As you do some pelvic tilts. And then we're going to find the halfway point, known as our center. So we're going to tip back, squashing the air out. We're going to tip forwards, creating a tunnel. And we're going to find halfway. Now, some people describe this as the center, the neutral spine, the rest position. It all means just the middle. We can describe it as if you could get a silk scarf through one side of the back to the other. I often teach my clients to have a little feel with the fingers. So when our back is squashed down, we can't get our hand under. When it's really tipped forwards, we can get our hand through like a tunnel. And in this position, we can get kind of the first little tips of our fingers through, but nothing more. So let's practice that once more. We're going to tip all the way back, all the way forwards, and then we're going to find that halfway position, that center, that neutral spine, as if you could get a silk scarf. Now, if you notice that you've done that, but you know that you've got an increased curve in your back, and you can feel that even in your center, there's a really big gap. I'm going to just roll onto my side. We can use a towel and just place it to just take up some of that space. It's only relevant if you've got an increased curve in your back. You'd start your setup again, and it just fills in a little bit of your gap, and you still do exactly the same, forwards and backwards, and find halfway. And you'll now find that it's a bit more like that silk scarf position, as if you could just get your fingertips under your back. You can also use like this 1-inch head pad as well. So last time to practice. Tipping backwards, tipping forwards, finding your center. And now that you're there, see if you can breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And rest.